classes. Today is Mobility Thursday. So instead of doing a movement class, I thought it'd be a great time to talk about foam rolling and what foam rolling means. What is it? Why do we do it? How does it work? I feel like that gets lost a lot. We just kind of do things because we see other people do things, or we had a coach or a trainer that told us to do things, and so we just do it. I'm the kind of person, I like to understand the why behind why I do things with my body, right? So if I'm going to be working out and exercising, or if I'm going to be dancing, like what's the anatomy of it? How do all the parts work together? So the same thing with foam rolling. So foam rolling is pretty cool, and it's great, and it's a necessity if you are a mover. So you should be foam rolling. Even if you're not a mover, you should be foam rolling, right? It's so good for our bodies, and it helps bring back that natural mobility that we should have. So what we'll do today, I'm going to do a lot of talking, and then depending on how much I blab and run my mouth, I'll also take you guys through a couple examples. So that now hopefully you will have a better understanding of what you're doing, and you can apply that to your practice with foam rolling. So what are the benefits of foam rolling? Foam rolling's been around for a really long time, but you use foam rolling to relax. You can use foam rolling to recover after a workout. You can use it for increasing your athletic performance. You can improve circulation, which is a really big one, and it can help you sleep. And there's like so many more reasons why foam rolling is awesome for us. So if you're watching this, you're probably a mover in some way, shape, or form. So you're a fitness person, or a pole dancer, and an aerialist, right? So you're probably wanting to recover better and improve your athletic performance. You want to train for longevity, and you want to keep your body in tip-top shape, right? You don't want to get hurt. So what are we targeting when we're doing foam rolling? So sorry, and if you see me like looking over, I wrote my notes down so I could have my thoughts collected. So it's over there. So what are we targeting with foam rolling? There's 3 parts that I think are really cool to think about. There's actually, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. There's 2 really great resources that I really enjoy. There's 3, but the 2 that focus on foam rolling in particular, and self-myofascial release, is the Melt Method book and the book Total Foam Rolling Techniques. So I highly recommend reading both of these. They're a great way to kind of break things down, and they both have slightly different approaches to how to do this. So when we do foam rolling, we're targeting obviously the muscle fibers, the things that we're using a lot. We're targeting the fascia. Okay, if you don't know what fascia is, I'm going to talk about that. And then I nerded out, and one of these books talked about something called ground substance, which I think is really cool. It works with the fascia. Okay, so what is the fascia exactly? Okay, the fascia is this like sheath, this really thin, soft tissue that the muscles kind of are surrounded with. Okay, and the sheath allows the muscles to glide and slide as they do movement. So it's kind of like keeping the friction off, and that's why it's so important, because it allows our body to move effectively without rubbing the muscle fibers raw, right? Fascia, fun fact, is also the things that keeps all your organs in place. If we didn't have fascia, your organs would just go down there. You wouldn't have anything left. So fascia plays really big roles. Ground substance, which is kind of like a new thing, and when you're talking about fascia, it's kind of like the lubricating fluid or gel that helps keep the fascia tissue. So it's like liquid, so it can move. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but think of like your fascia is bathed in this liquid, and it's the oil that keeps it really smooth, and then the fascia itself is the soft tissue. Okay. And then the muscles are wrapped in the fascia, which is lubricated with the ground substance. Okay, pretty neat, right? Keep both of those in mind, because they do come into play for the why and how of what we're doing when we do foam rolling. So I mentioned this book already, Total Foam Rolling Techniques by Steve Barrett. It's an awesome book. You can get it on Amazon. He's a personal trainer and been doing movement and stuff for a long time, so he breaks it down really well in a way that I think anybody can understand it. So I kind of took some of these from his book because I think they're really awesome. And I'm just going to give you like the brief overview. If you want to learn more about any of these, definitely check out that book and nerd out on it because it's awesome. So there's theories, right, of how foam rolling works and how it's effective. Still like science side of it, like people don't really understand and know what's going on. But these are the theories behind it, and some might make more sense to you and some might not. So the one theory, the big one, I think a lot of people think about this, it softens your fascia. Okay. So often when we use our muscles a lot, you overtrain or you worked really, really hard, or if you're really sedentary, you don't move a lot, that ground substance that lubricates our fascia becomes gel-like instead of fluid-like. So when it becomes gel-like, it doesn't move, it doesn't let the muscles move quite as smoothly as they should move. And that's where you feel discomfort and some pain sometimes. And then because that ground substance kind of turns to gel, your fascia gets stuck, all right? And it's not moving and allowing the muscles to move, okay? So by foam rolling, by putting some pressure, that ground substance responds really, really well to like pressure, and the foam rolling pressure that you put on kind of breaks up that gel and makes it more liquidy again. So the theory is if you soften the fascia and the stuff that makes the fascia work, then the muscles will be able to move easier, and then, hey, you feel better. Another theory behind foam rolling is it improves the quality of the muscle tissues and the muscle fibers. In short, the Cliff Notes version, it allows your muscles, tendons, ligaments, and fascia to work together more efficiently. Okay, so you're like rolling out a trigger point or just rolling the whole long thread of muscle, but that since everything's connected, that puts less stress on like tendons and ligaments, which puts less stress on a joint or a corresponding joint. So everything just kind of like waterfalls and connects together. So like if you have pain in your ankle, that could actually be your quads are too tight, right? And I speak from experience of this because this is what happens to me. So it's really cool if you think about it. Just because you're foam rolling one area doesn't mean that's the only area that's getting the benefit of what you're doing. Another theory behind foam rolling, it's Nunn's trigger points, as Steve Barrett puts it. Trigger points, you hear this a lot. There's lots of trigger points around our body. These are the like hot spots in your body that tend to hold more tension and inflammation. Tension and inflammation is what causes discomfort and pain, and that's what we feel. Okay, and a lot of times if there's tension or inflammation, your muscles just start doing this and getting tighter and tighter, and then that pulls other things, and then that makes other things hurt. Again, everything's connected. So if you think about like those trigger points in our body, they're kind of like if you have different roads going across each other, right? They're just like mash up crossroads, right? And then it's like a traffic jam. Everything gets stuck in that traffic jam. So when you're doing foam rolling, and especially when you're targeting trigger points, you're starting to take those roads that are all jumbled up and you start to make them more uniform and work together better, okay? So it's a smoother pathway, and it's a better, more efficient movement pattern. The really common trigger points are your pecs, pectorals, your psoas, and your torso. And your psoas is the, like people call the psoas low abs sometimes, okay? It's one of your abdominal muscles in your core. Piriformis, okay? That's like, my pole dancers know this one. That's your gluteal fold, a little butt crease you got. You see your iliotibial band, your IT band, okay? That's the guy that goes, shoop, runs all down the outer thigh. Your quads, okay? Yeah, we all know our quads. It's the top of your thighs. And your soleus, or your calf muscles, underside of your lower leg. Okay, so those are the most common areas where we tend to hold tension, and when we hold tension in those areas, that tension transfers into pain in different spots of our body. So when in doubt, target those 6 areas, and those are some great places to start your foam rolling journey on. Some other theories for how foam rolling works are it breaks up scar tissue, okay? Every time we work out, and those that train like flexibility and contortion, if you've taken class with me, you've heard me say this, right? When we stretch, when we work out, we are actually putting micro tears in our muscles we're lengthening them, we're strengthening them in that way. And then we have to have that recovery period so the muscle fibers can heal in a elongated position. Well, I don't know why that was a tongue twister. So that's what's really neat is we're always kind of like tearing our muscles, and we're always repairing them constantly. Our body is in a constant state of work and recovery. Because sometimes we get really, really tough scar tissue from an injury, or we just really like overworked ourselves. And sometimes you can feel those, like that could even be like knots. Okay. So we can break up some of the scar tissue that's just normal and allow the muscles to relax a little bit more and kind of get them going more uniform again. Because again, scar tissue is kind of like those crossroads, it's like jumbled up muscle fibers that don't really know what they're doing. You want to smooth them out so they all run in the same direction and are uniform. And another theory behind foam rolling, actually, it's cool that he mentioned it in this book, but I always talk about it when I'm doing flexibility training. You're kind of retraining your central nervous system, okay? The way your brain responds to what you're doing with your body. Our body is wired to protect itself. So it feels something new, or it feels something that maybe that's pain, and then your body goes, I don't like that, I don't want it anymore. It tenses up and it wants to run away. That's kind of like your fight or flight syndrome in there. So when you're doing foam rolling, usually if you're starting out at the beginning or you're foam rolling a new area, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. It might even hurt. Your brain's telling your body that hurts, I don't like that, go away. But the more you do foam rolling and the more you follow the principles and techniques behind it, your brain starts to associate that feeling with, okay, this is kind of like good pain, so I'm going to chill out more. I'm not going to resist what's happening, and then I'm going to relax more, and then you get more out of it. So those are 5 theories about how foam rolling works. That's like the nerdy Cliff Notes version. And again, I love understanding how our body works. I'm always like trying to educate myself and read and, watch presentations and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we're doing, why we're doing it. Some best practices for when you are foam rolling. We want to roll along muscle fibers in the way they lay in our body. So usually you want to roll anywhere between the point of origin and the point of insertion, okay? So where it kind of connects between 2 joints or 2 bones. We want to, it works best on large muscle groups. You can foam roll smaller muscle groups, but then it becomes more like trigger point massage. So that's where some different tools can come in. I don't know, like my YouTube people can see like some of my self massage stuff back there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but lots of really cool things you can use to help break down those parts of your body and relax them and get that discomfort to go away. What's great about foam rolling is you get to control the pressure. You get to control how hard. So sometimes like you go to massage therapists and they're doing it and you're like, okay, no, you could go a little harder. And then they start going and you're like, that's way too hard. I need you to lighten up a little bit. So there's not so much that communication. You know what your body is going to be comfortable with, and then you can slowly ease on more pressure if you need to. So you're using your own body weight to apply pressure to do the foam rolling techniques. I kind of think of foam rolling techniques in 2 ways. This is just my brain. Mashing, which is when you kind of like mash the muscle down and you're going along the muscle fibers. So this way. And then there's also like, it's kind of like breaking up the muscle tissue. So you actually roll across the muscle fibers, right? And that can actually like help separate them a little bit more and keep them from doing that kind of contraction instead of long waist contraction, if that makes sense. Long sweeping motions when you're going on these large muscle groups is going to be the biggest thing, and really slow. Okay, so you're going to roll really slow all the way from where the muscle connects in one point and where it connects to the other point. You want to do the whole thing. Small repetitive movements and small repetitive movements are going to come in with like trigger points. Okay, so you have that like knot or that area of your body, you're like, you roll over and you're like, ooh, like I didn't know that was there, right? That's when you would actually take away those sweeping motions and you would make smaller movements. Okay, so you're kind of working that high tensity area to help it relax a little bit more, so you can go back to the long sweeping motions. You can also find trigger points, and this is where you can use like a lacrosse ball or something really small, and you can find that trigger point. You can work it with those small repetitive motions, and you can also work like full range of motion. So for example, like say your pecs and your shoulders and your upper back hurts a lot, right? So you could find a trigger point in your pecs and then move through a full range of motion with the arm the way it's supposed to move, and you're kind of putting tension in that spot. So as you move the muscle, your brain's like, oh, I don't have to like stay tight and contracted anymore because that trigger point ball or whatever you're using is doing that for them. So that can actually help trick the brain and help the muscles relax a little bit more. Okay, so that's my like spiel on why foam rolling is really cool. Just a quick introduction to things you can do with foam rolling. And I want to talk about 3 foam rolling areas. So when you go to foam roll, you can use a traditional foam roller, which is really squishy, or you could use a harder one. There's some like these. I have them that have like the spiky edges on it, so that's going to give you a little bit more like trigger point rolling. But you can kind of pick what grooves for you a little bit more. I'm going to move my YouTubers down a little. Okay, so quads are usually the big one. Everyone's like, oh, my quads hurt. How do I roll? Well, what are you doing with your quads? Okay, your quads are 4 muscles. Right? Yes, they are. That's why it's called the quads. 4. Right? So you have 4 muscles. You have your rectus femoris. That's the big muscle right on the top. That's the kind of like that superficial muscle we all see. You have your vastus medius. Okay, that's the inner thigh side of your quads. The vastus laterus is on the outside of the quad, and then you have one more, your vastus intermedius, that's actually under your rectus femoris, so you don't really see that one. But the way the 4 muscles in your quads work, you have the big one goes down here, you have the medius that goes here, and the laterus that goes here, okay? So when you foam roll on your quad, you actually want to target each of those big muscle groups, right? If you do just one and you ignore the other 2, you might not actually give yourself the full benefit of that foam rolling technique. The easiest way to roll your quads is to simply lay across your foam roller. So you can start up at the hips, keep your core engaged, so that way you're not slouching in here, and then you can kind of push and pull and roll this way. Sometimes if 2 legs is too much, you can grab a shorter foam roller and just do 1 leg at a time. And those sweeping motions are big and slow. They go all the way right above the knee, all the way up to the pelvis, right? If I wanted to get a little bit more on my vastus laterus, I cannot talk today, you would go a little bit more on the outside, so you're kind of canting at a little bit of the angle, and then if you wanted to get the medius, okay, you actually might want to roll, it looks kind of weird, but you want to kind of get on your foam roller a different way, okay? So those are quick ways to do those. And again, you can use a really soft one. This is a great place to start because it doesn't give you a ton of pressure. Or you could use a harder one if you're ready to kind of take your foam rolling up a little bit. Your psoas majors, again, I mentioned this earlier, it's kind of like your low abs. This is a really cool one to do because it's like a powerhouse of the underside of your abs. You got your transverse abdominis and your psoas. Your rectus femoris or rectus abdominis is like the 6-pack, the superficial things you see on top. But a lot of times low back pain can be associated with your psoas. So a really nice way to do that is to kind of go to jelly over the foam roller, start at your belly button, okay? And then you're gonna roll right to the top of the pelvis, and then you'll slowly roll all the way back, all right? You might find your tummy gurgling, mine is just a little bit. But again, this is a nice slow one, and you want to just let the weight of your body go on down to introduce that movement. So belly button to the top of your pelvis. And then your piriformis, okay, gluteal fold, your booty crease, this guy under here. This one's a relatively easy one to get to. You're going to sit on your foam roller, have one leg bent. This isn't the side you're working. I'm working this side, and you want to be rotated out slightly so that you can get it. And then again, you're going to roll underneath from point of insertion right at the top of the hamstrings all the way up into the glutes muscles. So this one's really good if you find you you tend to pronate or supinate your legs, okay? You might be really tight in your piriformis, so you want to keep your legs straight. If your quads are really tight or your hip flexors are really tight, this is kind of a antagonist muscle group from the front of your body, so it can actually help benefit these to do the opposite side of the muscles. So just a few quick ones and a quick overview of what foam rolling is and how it can be beneficial to you. There's lots and lots of different theories. There's lots of different ways to apply foam rolling techniques and self-myofascial release. These are just a couple. I am not the end-all be-all of foam rolling, but these are ones that over my 12 years of movement that have been good for me, and I'm always learning more new ones and enjoying new ways to treat my body as I work it really, really hard. So thanks again for tuning in today. I know this was a little bit of a different one from the other classes I've done so far, but talking and listening and understanding what goes behind the way we move our bodies is so, so important than just moving our bodies all the time. So I hope you found it valuable. You can save this video. It'll be archived on YouTube and on Instagram, and you can share it, like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all the good things. If you enjoyed this little video, leave a comment, let me know. If you have follow-up questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm at PoleFitFox on Instagram and also on YouTube. And other than that, you know, guys, I hope you're enjoying these, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. What's Friday going to be? I don't even know yet, but it's going to be something fun. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and